I'm Joe McCormick from Malden Catholic High School, and while many of you guys don't know who I am, I know a lot about most of you. My presentation is on espionage and botball. And basically, espionage is defined, according to Merriam-Webster, as the act or practice of spying or of using spies to obtain secret information as about another government or business competitor, or in this case, Botball. And many of you may ask the question, why do I spy before the regional competition before GCER? First of all, based on regionals, strategies using other regional competitions can be used in one's own regional competition. And if you learn about these strategies, you can prepare counter strategies to block. Another is a rough estimate of seeding scores can reflect how well a team will do. So if you notice that in a bunch of other regions, teams are scoring about an average of 100, and you know you're scoring an average of 300, you know that you'll be doing much better in the competition. And more importantly, spying is useful in GCER. Counter strategies can be adapted to face the one seen in the other 13 regional competitions, and such as if one sees an interesting block, they can develop a strategy to score around it. And another thing is the seeding scores can be used to determine how well a team ranks against the rest of the world. And here's the main thing that should happen at this GCER, and basically whenever you meet someone in Botball, is to make friends. There's a basic chemical equation. It actually didn't stick completely because that black box should be an arrow, but it's shown that sadness plus friends yields happiness and success. Basically, having friends, which this is benefited by the Botball Youth Advisory Council, helps with providing information about everyone else's region. So you can find out different seeding scores, you can find out how well certain teams are doing. And the one important thing is it can help with programming jams. And I have an example. The day before our regional competition, we could not get the shutdown in command to work because we were not shutting down at all. And so I called up someone from Nice actually, and they helped us to rewrite a new function to shut down a robot so we wouldn't be disqualified in every single run the next day. And having friends can also help in solving the hundreds of CVC bugs this year. And so you could talk, like I've talked to people, Jeremy Rand, Matt Thompson, with different problems to compare and see if they're having the same problems that you're having. Social networking is one of the big aspects to utilize. Twitter, YouTube, Flickr, and Facebook are the four main social networking sites. The first is Twitter, and although a lot of people don't use Twitter for Botball, I know some people that post Botball updates such as their current progress. And I don't know if anyone's here from Evergreen High School, but you guys broadcast some meetings online, and you probably shouldn't post that as your tweet because people can easily watch all of your meetings. YouTube, the most popular video site on the web must have Botball videos, and I'm sure at least some of you have searched out for Botball videos. And the first 2 pages are just all 2009 CD and double elimination rounds, a lot of which are from Michigan and different areas around there. If you analyze all of these videos, you can determine the different strategies used. I've seen one of the most interesting ones would be using the chain to block the slope. And so you can develop a counter strategy to either drive over the chain or to score a pinwheel around it. And the analysis reveals also the seeding scores. So you can just, by watching the video, you can add up the points that a team's scoring and see if you will beat them when it comes to the GCER competition. And I know most of you know that Bot Guy has a Flickr. And since late 2005, Kipper has used the Flickr. It's becoming more popular every year. Different pictures taken by volunteers and Kipper staff at the regional competitions then hosted. But there was a new feature this year. Kipper decided to host some videos from the competition. And these were MPEG videos that were hosted in, I think the main regions were Michigan. There were some from Southern California. But all of these, the Michigan especially, showed every single double elimination round. So you can see all of the double elimination strategies that were used. And I'm sorry I'm from Michigan, but you can see how bad Michigan was. But Facebook is by far the easiest way to find out about other regions. Being Facebook friends with other teams across the country, you can view their photos, you can view their videos, unless they block you, which I've had happen. But I'm in Facebook friends with Nice, Norman. If you can be Facebook friends with the big competitors, you'll have a lot of help. And it's a good idea to be friends with some Kipper staff members. Kipper staff members occasionally reveal key information about the regional competitions. And I don't know if Liz Whitefolk's here, but she said White Botball is awesome. And then Nick, who's videoing right now, says he's pretty lucky to go down there. Rohit, he's somewhere out there. That's the highest points were scored. Rohit's over there. And then Liz said that the highest score was 218, so that's one way to figure out a seeding score. And then in other circumstances, people have posted their robot in or as their profile picture, which is a very stupid mistake. So, Noosa from, I forget which country, but they posted their robot as their profile picture, so this can be seen and tell exactly what they do. In other circumstances, people post pictures from the regional which show not only their robots, but also other robots from the competition, so they'll have whole sets of, like, let's say the Northern California Botball regional. So these are Rohit, who's out there's photos. There he is right there. But so you post pictures from there so you can see how people are scoring, and you can develop little strategies against those. And sometimes I'm sure there are pictures I'm sure people regret were even taken. This is Steve Goodgame. Steve's here right now. I'm sure he didn't want to be seen in this again, but this was found also in Northern California. Steve wore this. Other people post videos from before the regional or at the regional competition, and these are useful just like the Flickr videos to analyze. But what helped with us is there was a video posted before the before we even had a regional competition that showed the board a little bit and showed that the cups fly when hitting the surface connector. So before we built our board, we were able to figure out that pushing the cups over the surface connector would be a bad plan, and we started to develop counter strategies to like flip up the cup a little bit to get it over the surface connector. And this, I don't have the video, but this would show the cup shooting completely off the board. And it was, it was titled "Create Scoring a Field Goal," and it was by, I figured it was by I blurred it out for them. Another thing was, I'm sure most of you remember the public sites for documentation that were from 2007, 2008, where it would have their own public file, and then they could post different documentation files that weren't accessible to post pictures or sample code. And 2007, 2008, these were used. This year they weren't used. And you hosted files, but many people don't know that all these hosted documentations went public after the season. So many people hosted documentation files, sample code, so you could see some people's libraries, you could see some people, what their robots were doing that year, and the mechanical designs. And I don't know if Cedarbrook's here, but the internationally renowned Cedarbrook Academy, they hosted their championship claw. And so we have basic sketches, basic Nathan's. And there's the Cedarbrook claw. There's about 10 pictures, all different angles, showing exactly how you could build the Cedarbrook claw if you wanted to. And then there's also pictures 2007 Cedarbrook robots. And these are all accessible through these links, and you can still use them if you want. But there's no link for this year. And one thing I'm sure everyone knows, Google, the most powerful search engine. It's probably Botball's best friend because of its searches by date. So if you search following a regional competition, so let's say Florida competition was Saturday, and you search Sunday for Florida, and you search it by date for Florida Botball, you can find pictures hosted everywhere. And here's Florida Botball for an example. I know a lot of you in Florida probably won't be pretty happy, but the last two regional competitions, the University of North Florida took pictures as well as streamed the entire competition online. So I know a lot of people, many people don't know that, but all of the runs were online. And the pictures show crucial strategies that we used in the double elimination rounds. I know I said I would blow this picture out, but most people know Nice used a grapple hook. And so I started this photo 4 months ago when Nice first used this grapple hook. And so we could develop a counter strategy to block it or to do something to make it so they can't score on the grapple hook. And the stream of the competition allowed for every single double elimination run and seeding run to be analyzed just to see how the competitors were doing in Florida. And I'm sure I didn't catch it in 2007, but 2008, it's a nice feature to see. And I'm sure next year you guys can check out the University of North Florida site, unf.ccec.edu.
Thanks a lot.
Seeding scores. Seeding scores for the first year were hosted on the Botball site, so it made it much easier versus the previous years we'd have to figure them out by yourselves. And these cannot be taken as the most accurate scores though, because these are the average scores, so a team can score much higher. So for example, a team like Malden Catholic may average a 300 according to the Botball site, but may actually score as high as 360 in regionals. These scores are also not an accurate reflection of what has come to GCER due to various improvements. So a team may score 90 plus more points between regionals and GCER. However, the opposite effect can also occur. A team like Malden Catholic could average a score of 96.25 at GCER, even though they should be averaging 150 based on the regional online score. Public SVNs. One bad plan is to host your code in a public SVN. I know some teams out there do that. These are easily searchable in a team's library as well as code can be found. However, this code may not actually be the code the team uses. Some teams may host old code or old XBC code to hinder other teams. For example, Malden Catholic has an old XBC code hosted that does not work in the newer buggy CBCs. I know Nice has found that before. Here are a few key guidelines to follow when you don't want to be seen all over the internet. The first is if you feel the need to stream your meeting live on a public server, don't then post this on Twitter, because anyone can see that and watch the meeting. And if it's necessary to show people your robot on Facebook, don't set it as your profile picture, put it in an album somewhere so that not the public can see it, and then you just show it with your friends. Another thing is, if you feel the need to share your code, don't put it on public SVN. You can make a private SVN, or you could email it to someone, or do something like that. And finally, if you don't have a picture of you posted online, don't wear a blonde wig. Any questions? Yeah.
How do you feel about espionage at the actual tournament, like today?
I know at the tournament today we utilize, I know you use it, I've seen you many times, but people come out with the spy sheets, the video cameras, everything. I think it's good if you can utilize it correctly, make sure you get team name, team number down, and you have, it's only good though if you have multiple strategies. If you run the same strategy for every team, it doesn't really help you out. But if you have multiple strategy with different speed or with different types of robots, you can utilize it to prepare. Let's say if a Polish team is going to score immediately, you could change your strategy to speed up your block or something like that. Anything else?
Good job.